The next thing that we're going to do is on the blend space, if you'll look to the right, we're going to talk to you a little bit about student choice, okay? And Ms. Brown's going to read this to you. And as we're reading, I want you to think about the role choice has had in your life as a reader, okay?
And you're welcome to follow along on the blend space. It's also in your packet, page 3, if you prefer a paper copy. It's from No More Independent Reading Without Support by Miller and Ross, and it's entitled, Students Need to Be Able to Choose What They Read. Within that time set aside for independent reading, what should kids be reading? The research says that IR is most effective when students choose their own reading materials. According to Allington and Gabriel, the research base on student-selected reading is robust and conclusive. Students read more, understand more, and are more likely to continue reading when they have the opportunity to choose what they read. Why is choice so important? Think about your own reading habits. When you find time to read materials that are not school or work related, you probably pick topics that interest you. Like most people, I do lots of required reading in connection with my work as a professor. When not reading for professional purposes, I choose to read about topics very different from work reading. My tastes run toward lighter fare, reading the newspaper, historical fiction, books about travel, and the occasional guilty pleasure of People magazine. Our students are like this too. Much of their reading in school is from required text. It is important that we balance school reading opportunities with choice reading experiences. Kids who read self rather than teacher-selected books read more, and self-selected reading is twice as powerful as teacher-selected reading in developing motivation and comprehension. Letting kids choose what to read motivates them to read even when it is not required, and it gives students practice in selecting their own books, which can contribute to out-of-school reading. So if we want students to read outside the classroom, then we need independent reading in the classroom to be centered around student-selected text. All right, so some things that I want you to think about are how choice has influenced your life. Back in August, you guys wrote a literacy narrative, and I asked that you bring that with you today, so I'll give you a second to pull that out. Some of you did recipes. Some of you wrote about your reading experiences as a young child, so I'll give you a second to pull that out. And what I'd like for you to reflect on is, did you have choice? When you look at your top 5 books that you've read, were any of them, teacher selected, or were they books that you chose to read yourself? When you look at your reading journey, when you talk about some of your favorite books that you've read or books that influenced you, were those books that the teacher chose for you to read or that you chose yourself? So think about, did you have choice as a reader, and what was that like? Was choice lacking, and how did that impact you? And somewhere on your writing that you did last month, I want you to write a reflection about that. Okay. And then we'll share whenever you're done.
Some structure choice sometimes can help students. Speed dating for reading, where they get a chance to look at several places and then they have to come up with recipes for what major they're reading? Supposed to write a recipe for reading. Okay. So when you think back to your experiences that led you to write this recipe, were you given choice as a child? Did a teacher always
50 minutes in the I'm like, I read that in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
The Nate ones. I'm like, oh, this is $14 in the book.